Good morning. This is Duncan Campbell with Oudolf Garden Detroit. The purpose of today's video is just to give you an idea on how to use the garden map at oudolfgardendetroit.org. So you come to the menu from the main site, click on Garden Map, and this Explore the Garden comes up. I usually prefer to use it in full screen so I can get a better look at the garden itself. As we look at the garden, we can see that it's oriented with names of the different beds that are throughout the garden, and this is an aerial image taken by Unmanned Aerial Solutions as a donation to Oudolf Garden Detroit, and it gives you the date at the very top of what the vintage of this aerial imagery is. Looking at this imagery, you can zoom in with your computer or your tablet or a cellular data enabled phone inside the garden itself, and it'll scale to the screen. If you look in the top left hand corner of this particular website, you can see the map width of left to right as far as the amount of area you're looking at. You can zoom level is 23, and then the pixel size. The only reason I bring this up is because you are able to zoom in rather tight on the garden itself and see the plants in high resolution. You can zoom in and zoom out. You can also use your wheel on your mouse if you have one. So zoom in, zoom out, and then also the home button will basically take you back to the whole garden itself. This last icon, I'm up here in the left hand corner of the screen, is to enable the GPS on your particular phone or tablet that has cellular data, which will enable to give you a position within about 10 or 12 feet within the garden itself so you can see where you're looking at. As we look at the garden, we see our rain garden on the far left, then our C beds, our B beds, our A beds, and then repeat B, A, C, B. Then we have T1, which is our triangle 1, and T2, our triangle 2. On the bottom of the screen, you're seeing imagery of the wetlands area, which is going to be planted in 2022. Also, the status bar is giving you an update in this yellow coming across of what's the status of the refresh of the page, because this is a tileized website that gives you high resolution images as you go in. On the top right hand side, this is the hamburger, and you can click and look at it, and you've got three options here. You can click on Now Blooming, and what this will bring up are polygons, and these polygons are in basically the color of the bloom of the plant or the bulb. And so as you zoom in on these, you can see these. You can click on one, and on the left hand side of your screen, that particular plant will pop up with an image of that plant, of those plants that are mixed in this area. It'll give you the Latin name and also the common name, as well as the number in this particular section of the garden itself. You can also click on the speaker icon and listen to Richard Thomas's pronunciation of these plants, which I have found to be extremely helpful because they're tough.
Echinacea purpurea, fatal attraction. Dahlia purpurea.
I found that so helpful. So now you're getting a picture of the plant. You can also click the plant and get a large image of it, and then just backspace back to it. So if you want to see a big image of it, you can click on it and see it. And of course, you can also click the sponsor button and sponsor that particular plant on our website, and it'll pop up and tell you if it's fully sponsored or still available for sale in support of the endowment for the perpetual maintenance of this garden. So don't forget to support us. We appreciate it. So those are the pictures that you can click on, and the plants will come up on the left. You can also click that off, so the now blooming polygons disappear and you're just looking at the aerial imagery. You can also turn on the bulb design. Now this is Pete's design projected on the map itself, so you can see his original artwork and also zoom in on it. If you click on something as far as his work, it shows you which plant it is with the same pop-up. And you can click around the map and take a look at what he has planted in which particular area with his bulb designs. So this particularly, see how it tileizes and refreshes as you zoom in, zoom out? So sometimes you got to wait a second for it to completely refresh. This also is showing the trees and the shrubs in the rain garden. You can click on one of these and it'll bring up that particular river birch in this particular scenario, as far as the trees and the shrubs, mainly in the rain gardens or in the triangles on the right. The other option that you have is, you can obviously turn that off, is you can turn on the forbs and the grasses design. Now, realize that in the bulbs designs, there are 30 different varieties of bulbs. Each particular bed of C, A, and B, C, B, all have unique mixes of 10 bulbs each, and there are approximately 48,000 bulbs planted in the garden itself. If you're looking at the forbs and the grasses, this has 26,000 plants in it in 1,500 individual groupings. And then in C, that is his grouping plan, B is his matrix plan, and A is his block plan. Oudolf Garden Detroit is the only project in the United States that has all three styles by Pete Oudolf in a individual garden. So then when you look at the forbs and the grasses, you can zoom in obviously on these and it'll refresh. You can click on one and it'll give you the plant on the left hand side as well as the pronunciation. Now the other way to look at this is, we'll zoom out a little bit. If you want to find a particular plant, this is a full listing of the 160 plus different plants and grasses and bulbs that we have in the garden, and you can select one. It will zoom out and then display with a polygon, it's just refreshing right now, of where that particular plant is located within the garden. Let's select one and have it come up for us. And so these are a couple in the rain garden itself. If we go to another one, it will re-zoom us out, or I may have selected the same one. Let's try. And that's another rain garden. And if we pick one of the geraniums, and now we see within the garden where those are located, we can click on it, and a pop-up will come up on the left-hand side of the screen showing us where these particular ones are located. There we go. So we can also clear the map down here. So just for a quick review. Now realize this is a volunteer project of Mapping Solutions LLC and Unmanned Aerial Solutions. We update this on an ongoing basis. It's not perfect, but we're trying really hard to provide this information to the general public. So up top right is, oh, I forgot to show you one thing. So let's say you're looking at the particular Forbes design and you scroll in and you want to see what it looks like on the ground. This is the X-ray feature. And the X-ray feature basically lets you look through the design at what is on the ground as you move around. And of course you can click on it and see what is up on the left hand side, and then you can always just click that off if you want to. So that's the X-ray feature. You can turn that on, turn that off, and it'll show you what is underneath the design, may that be bulbs or the forbs, etc. So just for a quick review, this is our hamburger top right hand. So you have now blooming, you have bulbs, You have aerials, you have grasses, etc. that you can click on and off, and you have the X-ray feature to look through them. Top left-hand side shows you what zoom level you're at, and you can go into about a 26 and get up close and personal with the plants. You can zoom in, zoom out. You have your home button. You have your GPS enable button, and then down here you can select an individual plant, and it will relocate you, showing where all those plants are located. So please support OudolfGardenDetroit.org in this wonderful project for Detroit, which will be opening to the general public on August 28th, 2021. And thank you very much for joining me to learn more about the garden map of Oudolf Garden Detroit.